الإمام صلى الله محمد وآله. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا ولي الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا حجة الله. حي على السلام. حي على السلام. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. حي على خير العمل. حي على خير العمل. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم اجعل قلبي بارا وميسارا ورزقي دارا ولادي برا وجل عند قبر نبيك محمدا مستقرا مقررا برحمتك يا رب العالمين. اللهم صل.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الحمد لله الذي كان موجودا قبل حدوث الأشياء ويبقى بعد فناء الأشياء. تفرد بالأولية والقدم ووسم كل شيء ما عداه بالفناء والعدم. كما قال الزشان كل شيء هالك إلا وجهه وكل نفس ذائقة الموت. وقال كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام. سبحان من لا يخفى عليه اختلاف النيات ولا يعزو عنه معاصي العباد في الخلوات. سبحان الله الذي منه خلقة العباد وإليه المعاد. فمن يعمل مثقال ذرة خير يره ومن يعمل مثقال ذرة شر يره. نشهد أن لا إله إلا هو الملك الذي لا ينازع في ملكه ولا يضاد في حكمه. يعذب من يشاء بما يشاء كيف يشاء ويرحم من يشاء بما يشاء كيف يشاء. تعذيبه المسيئين عدل وعفوه تفضل. ونشهد أن محمدا سيد المرسلين وخير المبشرين والمنذرين صلى الله عليه وآله الهداة المهديين. من ركب سفينتهم نجا واهتدى ومن تخلف عنها ضل فغرق. وهوا أوصيكم عباد الله بالاعتصام بالتقوى فإنه حبل متين وعروة وثقى. فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وقوله الحق وهو أصدق القائلين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولا تركنوا إلى الذين ظلموا فتمسكم النار وما لكم من دون الله من أولياء ثم لا تنصرون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. I begin by advising myself and all of you to practice the piety and taqwa of Allah as is the best of provisions. On this possible last Friday of month of Ramadan, also known as Jummatul Wida, as we bid farewell to the month of being the guests and ziyuf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every day of this month, every hour of this month was there to facilitate us, and now this is the last Friday. Now, importance of Friday as it is there and established that it's an Eid which comes to mu'mineen on every week. Basically, this is an Eid which you get to have every single week. And of course, other merits of the day that are mentioned in Riwayat, along with that, it being the last Friday of the month of Ramadan, the sa'at and the times and the days and the moments are all there for us to grab. I recited this ayat from Surah Hud, ayat number 113, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Do not incline toward the wrongdoers, lest the fire should touch you, and you will not have any friend besides Allah, then you will not be helped." Surah Hud is chapter 11 in the Holy Quran, which was revealed in the last few days or the last days of the life of Prophet, especially his life in the city of Makkatul Mukarramah. And days in which Prophet had lost his companion, his helper, his uncle, his support, Hazrat Abu Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, and his beloved wife, Bibi Khadija salamullahi alayha. And the time and the life was very difficult for Prophet, personally speaking, as well as from the social aspect. Prophet said, the Surah Hud made me old. Shayyabani. He says, when something happens to certain individuals, which is painful, which is difficult to bear, it could be a moment that when a person loses a loved one, it could be a moment when a person loses his wealth, it could be a moment when a person has something other shocking that happens to them. That one moment makes you old. You age because of that moment. And I give this example all the time that when fourth Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salatu wasalam, came back from Karbala, when he went to Karbala, Imam was 21 years old. If you look at that, he was born in the year 38 after Hijrah. Karbala takes place in 61 Hijrah. Imam is 23 years old. And then if you take the riwayat of them coming back after a year, even then Imam is only 24 years old. But when he came back, Muhammad Hanafiya could not recognize Imam Zainul Abidin because of the physical and, of course, the way Imam had aged in that period that they were in Karbala and afterwards. So Rasulullah said that as well. He said in regards to Surah Hud that it made me old due to the verse, فَاسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ وَمَنْ تَابَ مَعَكَ. So be steadfast, just as you have been commanded. The lack of patience and the steadfastness not from Rasulullah. Rasulullah was at the peak of patience and sabr. It is lack of patience and steadfastness from the companions, and then later those who became munafiqeen, is really what hurt Rasulullah. So the discussion on hand is to refrain from lending a hand to those who are oppressors, those who are wrongdoers, and a promise of fire from Allah for those who do assist the oppressors in the world. Showing love and affection to oppressors and obeying them is amongst the signs of rukun, as it mentioned over here, inclination, that you are leaning toward them. And you're leaning toward injustice. And we know that can be done not necessarily, bearing arms and going in their camp to support them that way, even through your words and even through your Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So all of those become reasons for you to refrain from it. Narration says, do not have any hope in the unjust ruler, even if he is your family friend. وَإِنْ كَانَ حَمِيمًا قَرِيبًا. Even if it's your family friend, do not have any hope as far as this person is unjust. So obedience to those vested with authority, ulul amr, as we mentioned, over you is wajib. Inclination towards oppressor is haram. So this is where the concept of khilafat and mulukiyat falls apart on its head. That if you, Quran says, Ati'ullah wa ati'ur Rasul wa ulul amr minkum, that obey Allah, obey the Prophet, and those who are ulul amr, those who've been vested with authority. And then at another place, Quran says, do not lend a hand to those who are oppressors. You consider certain people to be, ulul amr. Because according to the other madhab, all of the rulers of Banu Umayyah and then Banu Abbas were ulul amr. And even after Banu Abbas, the Salatin of Uthmania, Ottoman, they were also ulul amr because they had the deen in their hands and the religious institutions were in their hands. So if you consider them to be ulul amr, and this ayat of Surah Hud 111 says, don't lend a hand to those who are unjust. How do you put these two together? So therefore, we got to either realize that this ayat is not correct, which is wrong, or you say, well, not those people that we are considering to be ulul amr, we're making a mistake, and they are really not ulul amr. They are not the ones in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has vested His authority in these individuals. So, inclination towards oppressor is haram, therefore ulul amr cannot be tyrant. So the moment you find someone whom you have labeled as ulul amr to be tyrant and oppressive, understand that you have made a mistake there. Rather, he should be infallible. That's the reason Maktab Ahlul Bayt only believes in ulul amr who are mansus min Allah, and those who are infallible, masoon anil khata, meaning they do not make any mistakes whatsoever. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Amirul Mu'mineen mentions this. He says, oppose the oppressor and support the oppressed. Inspired from this saying, leader of Inqilab, Imam Khomeini, declared this day to be Yawmul Quds as well. The Quds Day is a global day and is not limited to only Palestinian issue, although there's more emphasis on the Palestinian issue, but also a means for the oppressed ones to fight against arrogant powers. Wherever there might be arrogant powers, this is a day when Muslims, and has picked up that Muslims come together in a single voice, condemning unjust and injustice all over the world. This is a day when oppressed ones should be equipped against the arrogant powers and knock them to the ground. This is the day when you should be able to equip them. You should be able to voice your concern against those who are oppressing them. This day will differentiate between the hypocrites and committed, faithful people. The committed ones acknowledge this day as the day for those who are being oppressed, such as the issue of Palestine. And in the recent past, what you have seen, that even if you have anything against the Palestinian, but at least you look at who is oppressing them, is the power, Israeli power, which is given this open hand to go ahead and commit any type of crime that they want. And this is where many of us feel that we have nothing that we can do about it, because the stronger world powers have backed them in a sense where there's nothing that any other Muslim country can do anything about it. So the only Muslim country that speaks up, right away that Muslim country is sidelined and labeled as terrorist and labeled as someone who is funding the terrorism in the area. So these are the means that you find how manipulation takes place. So we find this wasiyat from Amirul Mu'mineen, Imam al-Muttaqeen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. Wasiyat number 31 in Nahjul Balagha for his son, Imam Hassan, when he wrote it, Ba'da insirafihi min Saffin, when Imam came back from the Battle of Saffin. Imam said, وَدَعَ الْقَوْلَ فِي مَا لَا تَعْرِفْ وَالْخِطَابَ فِي مَا لَمْ تُكَلَّفْ وَأَمْسِكْ أَنْ طَرِيقٍ إِذَا خِفْتَ ضَلَالَتَهُ. And later on, Imam said, do not talk about things which you do not know. Do not speculate about and pass verdicts on subjects about which you are not in a position to form an opinion or give your opinion about it. Give up the way where there is a possibility of you going astray. We sometimes tread on the path, although we know that this path is going to be burning us and is going to be detrimental to us, but yet we still continue down the same road. When there's danger on you wandering in the wilderness of ignorance, possibility of losing the sight of the goal which you want to attain and of reaching the end aimed at, then it is better to give up the quest than to advance facing uncertain dangers and unforeseen risks. Imam is saying very clearly, if you know this path is dangerous and there's a possibility of you going around taking another path so you can get to safety, no rationale, no intellectual, no sound human being would go through this path which is filled with wilderness and difficulty. Advise people to do good and live virtuously because you are fit to give such advice. He's given this advice to Imam Hassan. Let your words and deeds teach the world lessons of how to abstain from wickedness and vicious deeds. Try your best to keep away from those who indulge in vices and sins. And this is, of course, Imam giving this advice to Imam Hassan, but in reality, he's giving this advice to all of us, that every single day when we are facing such calamities, this is how you deal with it. One of the problems of the society today is that non-professionals are giving verdicts about Islam. Media has played a major role in this. Misrepresentation of Islam is increasing, whether it's through their words or through their actions of these so-called Muslims. Imam said, do not talk about that which you do not know. A scholar's job in this regard becomes bigger than the job of a physician even. Physician focuses on the physical health, while the scholar must focus on the spiritual well-being of the society. Nobody questions the prescription written by the doctor. You said, sam'an wa ta'atan, and you go to the pharmacy and you get it. But right away you question, everybody questions the opinion of the scholars. No, if this could be done like this, then why not we go ahead and do it that way? Same thing is not happening. While we've differentiated between the two. Latter is taking care of your physical ailment. Former is talking about your spiritual well-being. But you don't question the prescription of a physician, and you question the prescription of your marja. Therefore, unity is the necessity of the time, necessary for the return of Imam of our time, Imam Mahdi, Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Because there are severe consequences of disunity and discord. I don't need to emphasize how, those who have experienced this, they have gone through many years of, working in different places, working with different groups, within your family. Forget about working at a larger corporation. Within your family, if there's lack of unity and there isn't any understanding, how this family can fall apart, let alone a bigger institution which has many faces in it and all giving different opinions. If there's lack of unity in them, the institution will also fail. It says dispute and conflict lead to weakening and defeat. The first and foremost thing that happens when you have dispute, when you have discord and disunity, it makes you weak. Simple as that. Remember the story of Luqman? That he gave each of the children a piece of a stick. And he said, break it. And they were all able to break it. And then he collected all the sticks and he gave it to the one child. He said, go ahead and break it. He wasn't able to break it. He said, see, when sticks are divided amongst you all, you can easily break them. They're vulnerable. But the moment you put all the sticks together, meaning you unite them, then you cannot break them. Similar is the case with you and I, that if we divide ourselves, we become weak internally. An ayat of Quran speaks about that. Surah Anfal 46 says, وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولُهُ وَلَا تَنَازَعُوا فَتَفْشَلُوا وَتَذْهَبْ رِيحُكُمْ وَاصْبِرُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ. God and His Messenger, obey them. Do not quarrel with each other, lest you fail to lose honor. Unity is the foundation of all divine religions. إِنَّ هَذِهِ أُمَّتُكُمْ أُمَّةً وَاحِدًا وَأَنَا رَبُّكُمْ فَاعْبُدُونَ. Surah Anbiya 92. People, you are one nation. I am your Lord, worship me. So one thing that you can all collect and get together is that you worship one God. Even those who are non-Muslims, you can gather under the same roof in the name of what? فَقُلْ تَعَالَوْا, come, عَلَى كَلِمَةٍ سَوَاءٍ, that we come on a same word, which is La ilaha illallah, that we believe in Allah and no one else. Quran discourages disunity. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ فَرَّقُوا دِينَهُمْ كَانُوا شِيَعًا لَسْتَ مِنْهُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ. Some of those who have divided their religion into different sects are not your concern, O Prophet. Meaning what? Prophet, you leave them alone. You continue doing your job. Those who are dividing the religions, they're not your concern. We will deal with them. That's a big threat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the smaller issues, Rasulullah would go ahead and solve. But when it came to this disunity and discord, Rasulullah would say, well, don't, you sideline, you sit back. You stop, don't worry about it. We will take care of these people ourselves. Meaning when Allah wants to take hands and matters in His own hands, then you wait for the severity of it. So Islam is universal. It was brought for all of mankind. Prophet is rahmatan lil alameen. Even Karbala is universal. The message in Karbala. Why are we trying to limit the message of Karbala? No, the message of Karbala is also universal. In fact, everyone can learn from it. Non-Muslim praised and recognized Imam as someone who stood up for those who are being oppressed at that time. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. You can move forward a little bit. So the last Friday of the holy month of Ramadan, bidding farewell is the right of someone who was friendly towards it. वो शख्स जो रमज़ान से मानूस था, I have to say it in Urdu, that when you were, you saw the month and you experienced the month and you looked and you practiced and you did things which are, recommended during this month. Otherwise, the one who wasn't even with this month has no right to bid farewell. Humans say goodbye to friends and family, people whom they have known for some times, but for the one who didn't even realize when Shahr Ramadan came, when it ended, why it came, doesn't deserve to bid farewell to this month. If you don't know, if you didn't experience it, you didn't see it, you were just, waking up and sleeping in the same way. It is possible those who, because of physical, ailments are unable to fast. It's not speaking about those people who are unable to fast. Because even if you can't fast, you can be fasting by giving this fidyah. So those who have physical ailments, they are unable to fast. What they can do, give fidyah, and they are actually part of the group which is actually fasting. So you're all there, even if you're not participating in the daily fast. But this is being meant something else. Ramadan was not just the obligation of fasting during the month. Ramadan's bigger objective was to cleanse and purify you through the blessings of this month. Yes, if you fasted, then nurun ala nur, because you were able to deprive yourself from food and other things, by which there was an extra effort that you put in order to clarify and cleanse yourself. Sixth Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam said, Imam used to make the following dua every day in the last 10 days of the month of Ramadan after wajib salah. And we should be making this same dua as well. Allahumma adde anna haqqa ma madha min shahr Ramadan waghfir lana taqsirana fihi wa tasallamhu minna maqbula wa la tu'akhidhna bi israfina ala anfusina waj'alna minal marhumin وَلَا تَجْعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَحْرُومِينَ. Beautiful words of Imam. Requires in-depth analysis, requires tashri', but I'm towards the end of my khutbah. And it says, Oh Allah, take from me whatever passed in the month of Ramadan, and forgive my mistakes in this month, and render it accepted, and do not punish us for our extravagance on our souls. Make us among those who are shown mercy, meaning marhumeen, and not amongst those who are mahrumeen, meaning those who are deprived of your mercy. So I'll conclude with this tradition of Imam, that we also make this dua, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a tawfiq and ability, that this last Friday of the month of Ramadan, we're able to, whatever amount of days that are remaining. Usually what you see is a drop in attendance. That once a person goes through this month, after the 23rd day of the month of Ramadan, brother, you can do that afterwards. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Do it afterwards. Because people are focused on you right now. People are watching you right now. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. As it is, there's so much disturbance. So we see that usually, this is an observation, I'm sure all of you will recognize this too, that throughout the month, mashallah, people show up at the time of iftar, they're here, masjid is packed, masjid is, filled with the musallin, those who are praying, reading dua, and mashallah, last night, we were here till Salatul Fajr, the hall was packed. But what is observed is that come the 24th of Ramadan, and it all goes down. As if that Ramadan ended with the Shab-e Qadr. And now next time you'll see people is after, Jummatul Wida, you'll see them on the day of Eid, which is still, ghanimat. Sure, we'll see them on Eid. But then once Eid happens, it is as if masjid is now ta'til. Masjid should be shut down, closed, and, we're back to our routine. That's not what Ramadan had come to teach you. Month of Ramadan had come to inculcate, teach, impart that spirituality in you, that your connection, unfortunately, our connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala outside of our places of worship is very, very thin. Maybe not true for everyone, but I'm speaking for majority that they don't have any religiosity outside of their houses of worship. Only when they come, they feel themselves connected to Rabb and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when this is the only means of your connection with God Almighty, then don't abandon this place. Remember the wasiyat Amirul Mu'mineen, that when he said, wallah fil Quran, wallah fil aitam, and wallah when it comes to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not abandon the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As one of the things that will be complaining on the day of judgment, that I was there and people didn't utilize me. One is Quran, second is a scholar, and third is masjid. It'll complain on the day of judgment that I was there for the guidance of mankind, yet people abandoned me and they did not utilize me properly. We'll say, no, we utilized it during the 30 days of Ramadan, or at least 22 days of Ramadan. We utilized it on the day of Eid. We utilized the first 10 days of Muharram. But then, of course, we didn't really have time after that. So keep that in mind. There's Friday, there's Jummah that comes around. If there isn't anything else that's keeping you connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throughout the week, make this to be the only thing that is connecting you. Make an effort to make sure that you attend regularly. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us a tawfiq that we fully benefit from the remaining few days of the month of Ramadan. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive our sins because the doors of mercy are wide open. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep shaitan shackled up even after the month of Ramadan so that he's unable to misguide us. Last one was really hopeful. إن أصل الحديث وأبلغ الموعظة كتاب الله أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحليم الكريم وغافر الذنب وقابل التوب وهو الغفور الرحيم سبحان من سبقت رحمته وغضبه وبسط اليدين بالرحمة سبحان من لم يكلف نفسا إلا دون وسعها وعفى عن السيئات ولم يجاز بها سبحان من لا يزداد ولا معصي لعباده إلا كرما وجودا ولا كثرة الذنوب إلا فهو صفها نشهد أن لا إله إلا هو لطوف للعباد بجوده والأفواد والمذنبين بحلمه ونشهد أن محمدا نبيه وحبيبه سيد المرسلين وشفيع المذنبين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله الهداة المهديين على قد أمركم الله في محكم كتابه بالصلاة على نبيه وحبيبه فقال تعليما لكم وتشريفا لصفيه إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيد المرسلين وشفيع المذنبين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وعلى إمام المسلمين وقائد الغر المحجلين أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى سيد النساء العالمين وبذة خاتم النبيين سيدتنا فاطمة بنت رسول الله صلوات الله عليها وعلى نسل المجتبى والحسين الشهيد بكربلاء وعلي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي وعليه الصلاة والسلام. اللهم صل على مولانا صاحب الزمان ما هي آثار البدع والطغيان هادم أبنة الشرك والنفاق حاسد فروع البغي والشقاق صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آباء الكرام اتصلت الليالي والأيام. اللهم عجل فرجا وسهل مخرجا واكن ناظرنا بنظرة منا إليه وجعلنا من المستشهدين بين يديه وتفضل على أمراء المؤمنين بمزيد التوفيقات وازدياد الإقبال وألو الدرجات. اللهم افعل بنا ما أنت أهل ولا تفعل بنا ما نحن أهل بجاه محمد وآله المعصومين صلوات الله عليهم أجمعين. اللهم تذكروا فتنفعوا ذكرا إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله. هيا على الصلاة هيا على الصلاة هيا على الفلاح هيا على الفلاح هيا على خير العمل هيا على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يسبح لله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض الملك القدوس العزيز الحكيم. هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته ويزكيهم ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة وإن كانوا من قبل لفي ضلال مبين. وآخرين منهم لما يلحقوا بهم وهو العزيز الحكيم. ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا بئس مثل القوم الذين كذبوا بآيات الله والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. قل يا أيها الذين هادوا إن زعمتم أنكم أولياء لله من دون الناس فتمنوا الموت إن كنتم صادقين ولا يتمنونه أبدا بما قدمت أيديهم والله عليم بالظالمين. قل إن الموت الذي تفرون منه فإنه ملاقيكم ثم تردون إلى عالم الغيب والشهادة فينبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون. وإذا رأوا تجارة أو لهوا انفضوا إليها وتركوك قائمة. قل ما عند الله خير من اللهو ومن التجارة والله خير الرازقين. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. وربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار بجاه محمد وآله الأطهار. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته يقوم ويقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. ربنا فرغ علينا الصبر وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين بجاه محمد وآله الطاهرين. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. رب صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. يا لطيف ارحم عبدك الضعيف. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. تسبيح. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. All of us together. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة لابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرزك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. الله.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Jummah Mubarak to you all. Just a reminder that inshallah the programs here in Masjid-e-Ali will continue for the daily Ramadan program that starts at 6:30 until Thursday, and Al-Mahdi workshops will also be conducting. This will be the last week. So Friday and Saturday they will be conducting the workshops. The slides are on the TV in the foyer. You can get more information. And inshallah, expecting there's a very good chance that Eid al-Fitr will fall on next Friday. If that's the case, inshallah, we will make that announcement, and the Eid announcement and the Salatul Eid prayer announcement will inshallah go out in due time. So inshallah, that is the expectation based on the criteria that was sent earlier in the week by the Office of Ayatollah Sistani, that we do fall in the visibility curve, and if it's seen anywhere in that curve, inshallah, we will be. So New Jersey does fall in that visibility curve. People in New York are outside of it, but New Jersey does fall in it, so inshallah we're okay, and Friday most likely will be Eid. It seems that way. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I'm talking. They've lowered the volume, I guess, for me. And inshallah, so I was just making an announcement about Eid, nothing important. There are no other announcements, basically. Inshallah, Saturday night, people were so excited of the Amal that they couldn't get enough of it, that Saturday night, inshallah, we will be reciting Dua Abu Hamza al-Thimali after the main program that concludes. So when the main program concludes at 9 o'clock of the Dua Iftatah, inshallah at 10 o'clock we will be reciting this beautiful dua, Dua Abu Hamza al-Thimali. You're more than welcome to join us. That'll be inshallah tomorrow night. Aside from that, I don't know if there's any other announcement. Thank you very much for all your support last night, that you came through and took care of what is needed. Inshallah, people who are our president and others, they will be officially congratulating all the volunteers for their hard work throughout the month of Ramadan, those who every single day came before all of us did and left after all of us did, especially preparing all the way from parking lot, taking care of the cars so that everyone can manage and leave in a right way so that no one's blocked, and all the way down to the banquet halls, setting up, cleaning up so that we can have meals together, and then when we come back, it's spick and span, it's all cleaned up next day, inshallah. So a loud shout out to all of those people who took care of this, they volunteered. Please send a loud Nara Salawat for all of them. Let's recite Dua Sehat for all those people who are in need of dua and those who are suffering, struggling, going through difficult time. There's a request for urgent Dua Sehat for Saima Abbas, Binte Agha Ashraf Abbas. And there's another Dua Sehat requested for little boy who had a heart surgery, Ali Abbas Zadi. So please keep both of them in your special du'as. Let's recite this ayah kalimah together 5 times. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Amma yujibu al-mustarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu as-su. Amma yujibu al-mustarra idha da'ahu wa yakshifu as-su. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه يكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه يكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه يكشف السوء ويجعلكم خلفاء الأرض أإله مع الله قليلا ما تذكرون. I forgot the Surah Fatiha. So inshallah, I forgot Surah Fatiha. So let's recite Surah Fatiha for all of our marhumin of sponsors, not Friday, the daily sponsors, and all of those who don't have anyone to recite. Surah Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad. Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad. Let's proceed to Salatul Asr. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. رب ادخلني مدخل صدق وأخرجني مخرج صدق واجعلني من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بحول الله وقوته يقوم وأقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده يا لطيف ارحم عبدك الضعيف. الله أكبر الحمد لله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. تسبيح.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا علي يا عظيم يا غفور يا رحيم. أنت الرب العظيم الذي ليس كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير. وهذا شهر عظمته وكرمته وشرفته وفضلته على الشهور، وهو الشهر الذي فرضت صيامه عليه، وهو شهر رمضان الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان، وجعلت فيه ليلة القدر وجعلتها خيرا من 1000 شهر. فيا ذا المن ولا يمن عليك، من علي بفكاك رقبتي من النار، في من تمن عليه وادخلني الجنة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. الله
صل على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله.
متوجہ زیارت ٹو ریل ریسائڈ زیارت امیل المومنین. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. السلام علیکم یا نبی اللہ، یا محمد سید الاولین، یا محمد سید الآخرین، یا محمد سید المرسلین. السلام علیکم یا امیر المومنین و یعصوب الدین و قائد الغر المحجلین. السلام علیکم یا باب اللہ، یا عین اللہ، ید اللہ و حسن الوائے و حکمت البالغہ و نعمت السابقہ و نعمت الدامغہ. السلام علی قسیم الجنت والنار. السلام علی نعمت اللہ علی الابرار و نعمت اللہ علی الفجار. السلام علی سید المختقین الاخیار. السلام علی اخی رسول اللہ و ابن امی و زوج ابنتی والمخلوق من طینته. السلام علی الاصل القدیم والفر الکریم. السلام علی الثمر الجنی. السلام علی بالحسن علین. السلام علی شجرۃ طوبہ و سدرۃ المنتہی. السلام علی آدم صفۃ اللہ و نوح نبی اللہ و ابراہیم خلیل اللہ و موسیٰ کلیم اللہ و عیسیٰ روح اللہ و محمد نبی اللہ و من بینہ من النبیین والصدیقین والشہداء والصالحین و حسن اولئک رفیق. السلام علی نور الانوار وسیل الاطہار و ناصر الاخرار علی والد العامل الابرار. السلام علی حبد المتی من جنب المتین و رحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. السلام علیکم یا اہل بیت النبوۃ جمیعا و رحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. السلام علیکم صاحب العصر والزمان، یا خلیفۃ الرحمن، یا کعبۃ الایمان، یا تفسیر القرآن. السلام علیکم شریک القرآن. السلام علیکم امام الماننا عجل اللہ فرجک و سہل اللہ مخرجک و ظہورک و رحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ. May Allah accept all your prayers and supplications.